Hey guys, welcome back to the Vid-Bits. I'm Bray.
And I'm Brian.
And tonight we're going to be playing some original Mario Bros.
So Mario Bros is an amazing arcade game that it's got a great co-op / competitive gameplay loop where, we can try our best to work together. And that may work so far, but eventually we're going to get to the point where we're going to butt heads because unfortunately it gets really tight with the amount of enemies that are on the screen. But also it's got like that, and it's one of the reasons why they used it is the minigame in Mario 3. It's got like that ability to screw your partner over if you wanted to. And could you imagine being in the game, in the arcade, and the person next to you, somebody that you don't know, and you just don't want them standing there, so you keep bumping enemies into them and stuff.
Like, get out of here.
Get out of here. So, I think that's also where you could say, is this co-op / competitive? Or, it's up to you, so.
So this game turns 41 this year.
Yeah, I think they tried to approximate the date to today / tomorrow or whatever, there was that the 4th or the 5th. That's per what I saw on something on Facebook based on some sort of historian page, but we were discussing before stream about how a lot of arcade games don't historically have a specifically pinpointed date to them.
Because they can release regionally, so you might not know exactly when it was released, so it's kind of approximated, but the creation date is separate from when it was available to the public, so then it's kind of up in arms, and it's just like, okay.
Alright, so we can do original mode for a while, which makes it so we just play 2 players together and stuff for a while, and then after that, if you want, we can go into the high score and the caravan modes to round out the stream, just to kind of show where we are. High score mode and caravan mode, I believe, are single player modes. Caravan mode in the Arcade Archives by Hamster is a great way to, if you don't have a lot of time to play these games, it's a 5-minute test to see how far you can get, and then you're ranked on a high score system against everybody else globally. So it's pretty cool if you just want to kind of dip your toe into a more reasonable route with these games, because that means 5 minutes is the furthest you'll ever get into the game.
Oh, I just hit my funny bone.
All right, so
let's go ahead. Sorry.
You're all right. Let's go ahead and start some original Mario Brothers.
I like your little character there in your personal profile, the Kamek. He's cute. Or Magikoopa, whatever you want to call him.
I'll put a couple credits in there. It's like that's what it would sound like if you dropped some coins.
All right, so how do you do 2-player?
I just hit 2 credits, so you should probably hit start and then
Yep. Smart.
All right. It's really important though for us to try to find ways to spatially be in different sections of the screen. We were talking about it earlier, and I think that it's easier to either do top half and bottom half, or maybe even split the screen diagonally.
Sorry, Dad had to turn the TV down a little bit so it wasn't being picked up by the mic as well. Alright, let's just restart.
You're fine. I just want to make sure that we can at least faintly hear it, because I'm going to have to hear some cue. That should be good.
Yeah, that's good. It's not being picked up heavily by the microphone.
Luigi, game over.
Just wipe.
Wipe. It's a wipe.
We should have probably figured that out before we hopped in the game, but
no worries.
Sometimes you gotta mix things on the fly. How is everybody doing tonight? Sorry, I said that in a weird way. I was looking at chat.
Go ahead and hit the...
Oh.
Alright. We really gotta
reset
straight reset. Alright. Credit. You hit play. There we go.
I definitely appreciate what Arcade Archives has to offer, because it's been a long time since I've played Mario Bros. So to have this available on Switch, it's nice to have that accessibility, and all the other games they offer as well.
Well, it made my dreams come true, because I always wanted to be able to play an arcade perfect port of Donkey Kong, and Hamster was the first company that Nintendo ever let do that. So, when that happened, I thought the gloves were off as far as like what was possible.
Sorry if in general I don't sound as articulated as usual, because it's been a while. If you guys haven't been able to tell, Dad's been kind of taken over recently, just due to the fact that I was out of town and I was visiting my mom for a little bit, and I was just very happy to see all of the interaction and stuff going on while I was gone. I really appreciate you guys treating Dad well and not being disrespectful or anything. I don't see that from you guys, but in general, I was just worried, like, well, how would Dad react on his own if something went bad or if someone was being shitty. But in general, I was just like, we got some. I noticed the one night I did tune in on stream, we had got multiple new members gifted by Musicus, so that was really awesome to see.
You could have got him. It's fine. It's fine. You do have like that frame where he's not in shell.
But yeah, I just love to see all the community interaction and stuff, especially considering I didn't know how it was going to go with me not being a part of the process, because I've been with Dad since the beginning. We haven't really done things too much without each other aside from some limited stuff in the past, so I just was, curious to see how that would pan out. Dad even upgraded some equipment while I was gone. We got sorry, we're watching Chief. We got a new microphone, so hopefully things are sounding a little bit more crisp, less echoey or staticky. Because we were recording all the audio off of our phones previously, which is not ideal.
No, but we said the first opportunity that we had to do upgrades with any type of donations, we were going to put them towards, equipment upgrades. And even if we haven't cashed out anything so far, we're still using those, towards that, because we needed to have better sound quality. And
right, I definitely agree. If everything's sounding good, can I get like a thumbs up in the chat or some sort of emotes or something? Gosh. Like you said, it's kind of hard to work with each other instead of against each other. When do I come back?
Oh, when I die, which I'll just die, because I could probably go a little bit, and that's not entertaining.
Wow, that's crazy. There's no, point where if you would have scored enough points, it would have given me one of your guys or something?
Oh, no, and like I said at the beginning, they definitely marketed this as, competitive / cooperative gameplay.
Wow, that's rough.
You got a higher score than me.
Really?
Yeah.
So I was stealing all your shit?
No, well, I mean, and that's the other thing. I don't know what that.
It's funny. I use my real initials.
All right, so. Go ahead and hit start. See if we can get higher than round 5 this time. I would leave the POW blocks as long as you can.
I like just crunching them.
I know, but you gotta have some stuff on the screen to get some mileage out of it. Also, it's just easier to be a little bit more able to survive when you do high rounds, because then you have to just get used to just surviving. So I guess that's the best training for 2 players, to try to solo as high of a round as you can.
This was zombies before zombies was even zombies, yo. I mean, before anything was doing survival, this is a survival game.
Oh, for sure.
You have to kill hordes of turtles until they're gone.
Turtles and crabs and flies.
Right. And it gets progressively more difficult the more rounds you go through. Why did I do that?
Like you said, it's almost like when you get back into a bag of chips after you said that you should stop eating, and you open it up and you keep eating some more. You're like, why am I doing this? I don't know. I don't know why you're doing it.
Yeah, I don't know.
So that makes you happy enough to do it.
dad just shows his chops compared to me.
I got sick really bad as a kid and sat home and played this on Atari 2600 for like...
Oh, that port's awful.
It is awful. But I was really good, and I think I played it for hours. And I only stopped because I was bored. It was so long, the loop. You right there, homie?
Yep. I was trying to think of something. You say you don't like ice climbers because it's slippery, but this is slippery as piss.
Yeah, no, it is. And that's another reason. Like, I don't.
I love ice climbers. Compared to this, ice climbers is great. Whereas I feel
compared to this, like this is worse.
This is worse.
What's wrong with you? You're allowed to have your own opinion, but wow.
I guess it's because I'm also better at that game, so I'm gonna feel a little bit more biased towards that, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure. We could learn how to do this in tandem, and it would be pretty okay. But
there's probably like a route to make it not really unbearable on each other.
Well, I was gonna get that other guy and just let you get both of them, but instead you just did that to me.
See, like I want to be productive and help, and then it's working against you. So maybe
sometimes the productive and help is I'm gonna knock both the enemies over and let you just jump up and get them because I don't care if you get a higher score than me. We're just trying to get as far as we can. To me, when you're playing co-op, it's about trying to get as far as you can.
Right.
But I mean, if you're playing competitive co-op, then I guess it's getting a higher score than your partner. But I mean, you can really.
I wasn't really trying to be competitive.
No, I know.
I'm more so just trying. I have never been this far. Or maybe once or twice. Like I've definitely seen these enemies, but I've not really gotten this far in the game often. I typically die when we've like right after the first mini game. So I'm just gonna kind of let you do your thing up there, and if any of them get by you for one reason or another, I'll be there to.
These guys are a little bit difficult because even if you have a power block, you're gonna risk losing it. That's good.
Finish him. Finish it.
There should be another bonus game coming up here.
I'm gonna stay in like the middle bottom section.
Oh. Okay.
That timing seemed pretty perfect to me. I guess it was too early. Get that guy, both of them. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
I guess I should have got him.
Definitely. Oh, fireball's coming. Oh, shit.
Hello.
Ah, toasting my buns. Okay, I'm gonna sit up here, bro.
The bars will drop out like one at a time underneath you. You have a little bit of time. I don't encourage that you kill the red fireball because every time he respawns, it's way worse.
I missed it. Can you get him?
Yep. Go ahead. Get. Yes.
Yes.
Good job.
That was a co-op effort for sure. You were leading all of the fireballs away.
Are you ready for the next phase?
What the hell is this? Yeah, I've never been this far. I've watched you be this far, but I've never been this far in Mario Bros.
We've got to basically make sure that you...
I'm not touching that power block this time. I'm so sorry I just wasted it.
It's okay.
Last time.
You also needed to stand on it in some parts sometimes because you can use it to get underneath it. Yeah.
Smart. Yeah, so this is definitely something where you can show me the ropes a lot more than I don't know anything.
I'm impressed. I've never been co-op with anybody to stage 10, so...
I realize though that it's such a interesting jump. Like it's not jump and you can't do jump. I don't know how to explain it. Like when you press A and you move forward, you have to do it at a specific time to even execute the jump and jump. If you do them at the same time, sometimes you'll completely not input, and I'm not used to that. So he's gonna freeze it?
Yep, if you kill him, then he won't. Oop. Nice, good job. Bam. Bam. I missed it.
Get that other guy. Nice, okay.
That's some choice shit right there.
Okay. I'm being really careful because I'm on my last guy. Ooh. I was trying to get the other
That's
guy.
alright.
You're right, it's such a risk reward going for those flying fly guys. I don't know what the hell they're called. Oh! I was going for it.
It's alright.
Now it's time for Dad to pick up the pieces. I would have gone for it.
I know. Let's see.
Jeez, this gets crazy.
You definitely don't want those things creating slippery platforms, that's for
Because
sure.
the game's already slippery as is, so just a little bit more is not a good thing. Ooh, was that an accident?
That was like my path. Like that's another thing.
You had
Make
to
a
go
path.
there.
You have to commit, and I just did that too. That was the path I was gonna go regardless, but I wasn't expecting it to go that way. I at least need to go hit that other power block one time. But
Nope,
I'm not
you
gonna
landed right in that crab in the balls.
I'm pretty impressed at that as far as like a, you know, I want to do the same thing that you did the first time.
Your actual initials?
My
Yeah.
actual initials.
I'm gonna put poo.
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 Alright. You think we can beat round 12?
I think we can beat
Credit?
round
Credit?
20.
Alright.
Probably. But if I can not waste the pals, stay alive. This is we together right now have played probably more Mario Bros that I've played correctly. Because I do it the Mario 3-way every time, where you just
Right.
kill your friends. It's like a PvP game in a way. Like, just how quickly can you get your friend killed? Like, because I've played. I've definitely
I saved
played,
you. Go get it.
No, I'm gonna get some money. I'm gonna collect the money. I've played a bit by myself. I just feel like I said, I die after the first mini game quite quickly. Because I'm just impatient, and it's a game of patience.
Yeah, you gotta like. It gives you time to think about what you're gonna do. You got enough time to get them both.
Nice. I feel like some arcade games age better than others. Like this one it's not bad. I feel like it's just difficult as hell.
Oh my god, yeah.
You know what game I think has aged horribly? Donkey Kong 3. I hate that game. I hated it when I was a kid. I remember you had it in the library, the NES library, and I was like, what am I gonna play today? Because Dad always had a wall of NES games.
Donkey Kong 3.
And I was like,
AKA,
damn,
I hate that game.
This game is horrible.
Oh god, that sucked.
Like, but then again, there were other games that I was horrible at that I loved, like Snake Rattle and Roll. I was bad at that game, but I liked it. It was still fun to play. It had class, it had charm. But Donkey Kong 3 on NES? Lame as hell. I'm trying to think of other games. Like unfortunately, as a kid, I didn't have the attention span for a game like Cobra Triangle. I liked watching you play it, but it wasn't fun to play personally. I don't know. I guess I had such a mentality when I played games as a kid. I felt like you just bumped me right into that crab's claws, man. That was something. But I had such a low attention mentality as a kid. I don't know why. I just had to beat the game. Thank you for saving me.
Yes.
You made up for it.
You're welcome.
I feel like I would beat a game so quickly, and then as soon as I beat it, I was done. We were probably returning it to GameStop. I mean,
yeah, because if it was like a new title, we were trying to get as much as we could towards the next thing for you.
Yeah, I remember Kirby's Epic Yarn was like that. I beat that game so quickly. I beat it the day I got it, and then we went back and got a different game.
Like Pokemon game, you ended up back in.
Or I remember I played the Poke Park games on Wii. I beat both of them. That was another game that I remember. I beat the first one, and then I went back to GameStop and got the second one and beat that one too. Like.
That might be our fault for not limiting how much time we let you play it. We just let you do what I would have done, like my friends' parents.
But the thing is, I was still going outside and playing with my friends. It was just like I had such. I think it happened to be during summer break or something, so I had like an obsessive amount of time to devote to whatever I wanted, really. Not having to go to school and stuff. But I just remember playing Wii, because I got the family Wii. I was the one who adopted the family Wii. I think that's something that a lot of people in my age range can like almost relate to in a way. Is like I know a lot of people who have adopted the family Wii over time, like just because like nobody wants it. There's some other console that comes out, or like after a while, the family was not really focused on in gaming. Like I remember during the Wii era, like everyone had a Wii. It was a status symbol to have a Wii. Like, do you have the Wii? Do you have Wii Sports? Do you have Wii Sports Resort? Like that, or like all the other shit. Like, do you have one of the stupid motion pad? Like, I have family members who don't even play video games that still have that little standing board in their living room. Like, gosh, that just shows how little you clean, or how little you understand what's in your house. Like, do you even know what this is for anymore? Is it just sitting there because you think it fills up a good amount of space and you're cool with it in your brain? Like, I don't know. What's really the relevance of the Wii Fit board anymore? When you don't have a Wii or the game.
Sometimes I think people always think that they're gonna get around to it.
I'll get around to it.
Oh, God.
20 years later, I'll finally play that Wii Fit everyone was talking about back in the 2000s.
I got my ballast board. I'm ready to go. Oh my God. I don't think that you realized how far we were and how good we were doing that last game.
Yeah, like, what was your favorite experience on the Wii? I loved Super Mario Sluggers.
I want to make people mad here, but I'm going to say coming home at night by myself after work and sitting right in front of the game and playing Red Steel when it came out, because it wasn't the greatest.
Red Steel is a good game. I like it.
It wasn't considered the greatest, though, because the katana action wasn't one-to-one, which is what people wanted. I think they got a lot more of that with the second part, which I didn't play. But, like, being able to be in my happy space, and, like, literally, I kind of, like, parodied the commercial. I just sat in front of the screen by myself, and being able to be immersed in that, like what they were trying to do with it. It was a really cool experience. Also, Super Paper Mario was really good.
Oh, that's a good RPG. That was one of the first RPGs that I actually beat, but it's because it's not really like it's not a turn-based RPG. It has the 2/3D mechanic where you it's almost like a puzzle. Every level's like a puzzle, and there's like a whole extra layer that you reveal without
It answered that question that everybody always had, was like, what would it look like from that perspective? Like,
that's what it does.
That's what it does. And
they do a really good job at it.
They do.
And then Luigi's character,
Oh yeah, that's fun.
Not to spoil too much.
The whole thing's fun.
But yeah, Luigi has a lot of depth, and I actually really like the bad guys, even though they seem to be generic and they don't really fit with the universe. It's another situation where Bowser teams up with with Peach and everyone else after a while.
And there's a dragon.
No,
I mean, I know it's a little spoilery, but the dragon's eye is the loading icon for the Wii shop. They make the icon
yeah, it's just so goofy. It's just over the top, and
the writing's
all
really
the right
good.
ways. It does have really good writing. It was one of the first games that I stopped skipping through all of the dialogue, and I actually paid attention when I played it. I think, unfortunately, games like Skyrim, games I shouldn't have been playing at a young... I was playing, Skyrim because I remember you and Mom played Skyrim, right? But I was not at the right age to actually consume the story storyline because I didn't have the patience.
Oh, I did it again.
I didn't have the patience to just like actually like sit and read all the dialogue options and stuff. I just wanted to beat it as quick as possible, like I played every other game.
Right.
So I think that mentality then carried on into the wrong games where I was capable of actually like enjoying it, but I was just trying to fast track like the experience and like play it quicker.
You were trying to consume games so that you could get on to the next game. Like you wanted to see new game types, new game mechanics, new, you know what I mean? It wasn't about story for you at first. It was more about the game as a game. Like, what does it do?
But I feel like that's also
That's
why
good though. That's like great. Like
That's
designers
why you
want
can-
people to do that. That's how they can tailor new experiences towards what people want. When people are like, okay, I want to. What is it? It's not what the. Okay, it's got a story. It's got characters. But what does it do? How do I do it? How does the character do its gameplay loop? Like the term gameplay loop wasn't something I thought about when I was a child, but now I understand that that's an important aspect. What is the gameplay loop? I'm gonna like the characters, I might like the aesthetic and the sound and all that other stuff, but am I gonna like the gameplay loop? Is that gonna be appealing to me? Like, how do I grind? How do I get good gear? How do I get swag? Is it through DLC? Do I have to pay for it? Or am I gonna be able to get it through unlocks? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a lot of that now, you know, it's so hit or miss that it's built into the experience itself that they're like, this has to be a DLC game. This has to be a game that's going to, you know,
just double checking the audio.
that's the only way that you're gonna get unlocks is if you buy the cosmetics, buy
That is
Battle
what's
Pass.
wrong with the industry. It's also the reason Nintendo sits on a island of relevancy per se by itself is because they still make games that they want to play. That's what makes a good company. That's what makes a good game. And that's what makes all these indie titles amazing, is these are games that the developers themselves want to play. That's why they're good.
If we're going back to what the original point of the topic was, is like the Wii or whatever, it's like that's why the Wii was interesting. That's why the Wii U was interesting.
Can we reset?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're just talking. But yeah, I think the reason, but they also are like, you're playing with a new input device. That is what that to an extent, that's what drives Nintendo to create new tech, is the input device that the console itself is based off of, the gimmick per
It's
se.
gonna allow them to find a way to give you new, interesting gameplay loops.
I wonder where they go from here. Do they go in they've already done like the augmented reality aspect to an extent in their tech, but they haven't utilized it in the games themselves.
They have to go VR.
Do you think Nintendo would be, how competitive would they be in a VR space though? Because
They're doing it in real life first. They're doing it with their immersion things with their Super Nintendo World and seeing how they can create immersive experiences.
it's weird. I don't like VR.
I don't either.
I'm like an avid gamer, and it's just like there's something about VR. Like
It's
maybe
nauseous.
I think it's also the quality of the experiences so far. It's so just proving the point of why VR has the right to exist instead of making games that in damn dad, but like in essence just are worth playing. Like, I feel like there are a couple experiences, but they're all like that Rock Band type experience, like Beat Saber or other interactive type experiences where like I feel like the only reason why you want to play this is because you want to experience the motion of it instead of it being like an objectively good title.
Right. Well, it's the same thing we were talking about also that was negative against the Wii.
Right.
Okay, just because I can I can now waggle the joystick to make a chopping motion doesn't mean every single game that has a chopping mechanic that you should have to do that if you were like chopping a tree. So it's going to get fatiguing, right? Like there was a big influx. It was funny. I think it was a major sports athlete had to take time off, and he was like relied upon heavily, right? You know, these are $1 million athletes, and he had to take time off because he got Wii tennis elbow. That was a thing. Wii elbow was a thing because nobody was used to doing that much physical activity, and as a society, we had developed Wii elbow where there was sports physicians that were getting a lot of extra money to help people through range of motion exercises to help get them through that. I had it at one point, just coming home and playing Wii tennis for hours, and just like you're not used to doing that. You know what I mean?
It's also like just a striking motion. It's almost like you're holding the Wiimote and doing like a striking motion to hit it back and forth, and it's like, if you're not, like you said, if you're not used to that, then it can get exhausting. But I feel like it reminds me almost of like NES thumb, I call it, when I wasn't quite used to a sharper
you didn't have your
D-pad.
callus, yeah, you didn't have your callus.
And then literally, it's something that it's just a part of my finger now. Like when I play
I just can't believe I trusted that. I was so close.
when I play DuckTales, like it hurt at the beginning, which is a fucked up thing to say.
Sure,
Like
I'm sorry.
considering you're talking about playing a video game, but like my thumb, after hours of playing, my fingers hurt playing DuckTales.
Oh yeah, it did. Hell yeah, it did.
But like that's how you learn those like pixel perfect maneuvers and those points where you know the game inside
Like
and
that
out.
jump that I just did, like, or I'm clipping the side of the platform. That's the jump that you have to do to be
Yep.
able to get up there
And
the
you
absolute
just have-
fastest. You have to learn exactly where that is.
Yep, and I don't have that. And I watch you do it, and I know what you're doing. I see what you're doing. I know what you're going for. I've trapped you.
Strict. Now his friends in
Oh my gosh, you assholes. Crab in the crotch.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I hear it's bad. I don't know.
No.
I don't know to the.
I don't know either, and I don't ever want to know.
Yeah, I never want to know.
You get dungeness crabs because you get thrown in a dungeon.
Sure.
Like, that's the only crabs I guess you could deal with, like, not, like, feeling bad that you didn't get because you didn't get them sexually transmitted. You got them because I guess they were, like...
Did those actually attach to you or something?
I don't know.
I think you're lying.
I don't know.
I'll just say Dad's lying. I think... I don't know if you know what you're talking about.
Dungeness crabs.
That seems like something that's just an actual crab. Let's not. I'm dead again.
You suck.
Crabs aside.
Crabs aside. Eugene Krabs.
If you guys could just see Chief right now, he is at the just the cutest point of sleep. Like he's just like he's laying his face against the couch. He's got a pillow, you know, he's all because that's the thing is I taught him how to use pillows and that's just a normal thing now.
Yeah.
It's just like every time if he can do it himself he will, but if not he'll get mad. I remember one time he got mad he couldn't maneuver a pillow on a bed and then he peed on the bed.
He did.
He's not an indoor accident kind of dog.
No, he did it spitefully because he
Yeah.
couldn't move it.
He literally
He put his paw on my hand because he did not want me to help him. I was going to grab it, and he's like, no, I'm going to do this. He kept circling like 3 or 4 more times trying to get the pillow out of the situation because he would circle, and he would try to use his nose and his teeth to just pull the pillow he did not like and the pile out of it. And then once he realized that he wasn't going to let me do it, and he couldn't do it, he was pissed on it.
I remember the shock that I felt when he did that. I
We
just
both looked at him like,
because
what the
he's
hell?
not that kind of dog.
No. We were very blessed that he's very house trained.
The only time he ever did it when he was otherwise was when he was in the cage, which was another spiteful kind of occurrence.
Right.
We still haven't quite wrangled our chief, but we'll get there. And I think he's already getting to the point where he's a lot better and he kind of respects us more, which is kind of hard to do with huskies. So I hear they're very, they're very. What's the word?
Judgmental?
Yeah.
They are very judgmental. I've never seen a dog look at you so he's like halfway looking at me with his eye kind of cocked open because he's never fully asleep.
That's the thing is he really is always kind of awake in a sense. Like he is the lightest of light sleepers, but then he can go right back to bed. Like he could be asleep and then he hears something on the TV that's too loud. He doesn't even bother him and he goes right back to bed.
I only feel like he truly rests when he knows that we're sleeping. Then
Yeah.
he'll be like, okay, I guess I'm good.
If he's in bed with one of us, or at the end of one of our beds, or in his bed, he has all the options. He has either of our beds if he feels like it, or he's got his own bed. You know, sometimes he feels like he's just. Some nights he'll go from bed to bed.
Oh my God.
Multiple times. There'll be nights that I get up to pee and he's like, "You woke me up. Guess I'm sleeping with Dad now." Like.
Yep.
I'm just glad to be back. I'm glad to finally be back, putting some more work in on the channel, and just being able to interact with you guys again. It's been a while. I mean, a whole week, and then we were already kind of, going on pause in a sense before that. My philosophy is, as long as you don't let it go to like make it to like a month, and you just like I feel like you lose a month worth of time on YouTube, and you can just kind of kiss your relevancy goodbye as far as like YouTube's algorithm goes. Like personally, I feel like when you post every day or at least 3 times a week, you get treated so much differently than when it's been months. And it makes sense. If you're posting more consistently, you should be.
Did you see that?
You saved my ass.
I did. You jumped forward, and I was like, boink.
Sometimes I forget that the enemies walk off the side of the screen into where I'm at now. But yeah, I feel like YouTube just kind of treats you differently as a creator when you've been offline for a while. So that's, unless you're just set, like, there are certain types of creators where they can do it and they'll still get pushed properly. Like someone who posts literally like once a month, or maybe once every couple of months. Like say Michael Reeves, for example. He's like someone who's developing technology that could take 9-10 months worth of tweaking and putting together, because it's some jank-ass project that he's put together, but it's like pushing the bounds of really what this technology is capable of in the like half-ass backyard kind of way. But like people tune into those kind of tech creators when they're making stuff or coding stuff, because they know that project is it'll be worth waiting that long.
Yeah.
And YouTube also kind of understands them as a creator to the point where they can push their content when relevant. Or, I don't know, I like YouTube Shorts, right, as an idea, but the type of content that is on Shorts is so lowest common denominator, trend-setting kind of bullshit. Like, I love that sometimes if you can follow the right creators, you can get watch their shorts, but through the actual native Shorts feed where you're discovering new stuff, unless you're searching it by topic, it is horrendous. And even when you are searching it by topic, like, it seems like after 3 or 4 videos, it leaves that topic and then goes back to the general Shorts, where it's like a bunch of kids putting green screens over someone else's video and just putting a caption over it. And it's just like they're literally like putting themselves in over their video, not crediting them, and then just like trying to farm views that way. But I like making shorts because I can make a bunch in an evening. And I'm not the type of person that's gonna make a bunch of part 2s and make you wait. I'm gonna post 10 shorts in a day. If I have that inspiration, I'm gonna post all the shorts then.
Get it. Nah, you got it.
Whereas some people are like, oh, wait for part 2 so I can farm more views off of you in the meantime. It's just like, Chief even made a sound. He doesn't like the current state of YouTube Shorts either. But I guess that's why I never cared for platforms like TikTok either, is it takes too much curating. I don't want to spend that much time on your app. If I want to spend 15 minutes, I want it to be all my feed. That's why, at least with Instagram, it does its job, and when I scroll through that, I have, for 15 minutes or however much time I'm giving myself, like, I actually see stuff that I want to see. Like, some social media apps take too long for them to curate your preferences, or they try to fork content that you don't want to watch at you. Like, I'm in this to watch my gaming creators, my programmers, my people who are making games, like checking in on projects, like different modding scenes, like custom zombies or Terraria mods, or any of the different niche things that I may be into at the time. Like, I'm not there for
Run away.
general news or politics or any of the other things that they could possibly.
It's the best way to get me to not watch your shit is by putting that in it too. I don't need that too.
Like, don't get me wrong, we are slightly political. We are so neutral.
Anti-jackass.
Yeah, swear. I'm as long as you're not making an ass of yourself.
Not hurting people.
Yeah, or actively
Kill it.
being prejudiced. If you're like, that's the thing, is I don't contribute to prejudice.
Or hatred or bigotry.
Yeah, so if you contribute to that, it's not political,
It's
it's
just
moral.
being a jackass.
Yeah, you're like, it's a moral and ethical problem for me.
It's hard for me to like, unfortunately, that's why, like, when we start getting offers for things to do outside of, like, what we're doing, or to have people integrated with sponsorships,
Yeah.
we're going to be very closely vetting
Because
that.
sponsorships that's about as political as
I
we'll
gotta
get.
find out what you do, too. I mean,
Yeah,
what are you about? Like, if you're sponsoring something, like, you could be doing great for us and great for the community, but if you're also sponsoring something vicariously bad, well, that's bad. I don't want to go all Carl jokes on you and stuff and, like, expose you, but I'll make sure Carl knows you're doing it. Like, he'll take the time to write the expose. He'll put the head out on you.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, like, I
People
don't...
that have the time. We don't have the time for that. We're just trying to make great gaming content and have a great gaming community.
The worst thing, once we get full monetization, the day that we have to go through and check off all the ads that we don't want to show on our videos, because don't get me wrong, I'd like to show ads, but I'm not going to show some scam, like the fake Joe Rogan ads that are trying to sell you some sort of, like, they're trying to tell you you're missing out on some sort of compensation of some sort that doesn't exist, it's not an official government thing that's telling you this, it's some out-of-state
We don't want you guys
thing.
to watch ads that insult your intelligence or tell you that you're stupid. But you know what? I'm pretty okay with certain things that I eat and drink.
Yeah, like we've said in the past, certain protein products, certain even energy drinks, because that's something, at least, even if we know there might be some downsides to energy drinks in the long run,
You're gonna consume them anyways.
and we already consume caffeine, and it's not like we're shilling out being someone who would be like, yeah, take some poison, because it's like you at least know what you're getting into with that, whereas it's like there are other products that it's like you're paying for something that's real fucked up, or it doesn't even work at all. Like NordVPN.
Are you tired of marinating your man-made synthetic detergents?
I mean, from what I've heard, Dr. Squatch at least is an actually good soap.
Actually, the fact that they actually make real soap nowadays is impressive to me.
I don't know, dude.
Actual soap.
I would take a sponsorship from Dr. Squatch.
I
Because
probably would
think
too.
about that. Like, those are actual products that we would use.
Right.
Or even Manscaped. We are both men. We
Right.
both shave.
Right.
That's something we regularly have to deal with.
Yeah, and as long as they're not sourcing the materials and they're not doing child labor or something.
Yep, those are the
But I have to look into that. I've never had to now, but if I were to consider partnering with them, I would definitely look into that.
Right.
Unfortunately, because you never know, man. Like, you just never know. I'd like to think that everybody's in the up and up, but when the same people that make my toilet paper also make my ice cream, I kind of wonder. I have to wonder. Unilever makes both those things, so what am I supposed to do?
That's true.
You know what I mean? So that is what it is. We're in a...
Can you kill the fireballs?
You can. If you kill the green ones, they will... Everything respawns, right? If you kill the green ones, they'll still respawn at, like, the
Same level.
the same cadence and speed and fury. But if you kill the red one...
Get him.
The problem with killing the red one is every time that you kill him, he ramps up, like, hardcore.
But, like, even something like Raid Shadow Legends. I play games, but I'm not going to show you a mobile game because I don't play mobile games.
Yeah.
I'm against
We
that.
don't have time to do that.
I have such a short
We already
attention
have our
span
phones in our
as
hands
it
enough.
is. Right. I'm on my phone too much. And
Yeah.
I feel like...
Nothing against people that like mobile games, and I'll go ahead and ad-lib what Bray's saying, because honestly, if Square Enix wants me to push a Final Fantasy mobile game, I might do that, because I play Final Fantasy games and I buy their products.
Even though I don't, because you do, by proxy, I can understand why a sponsorship like that would make sense on the channel.
Right.
If it was a reputable company, even if it's a new game I know nothing about, if Bandai Namco wanted to advertise one of their games before one of my videos, I'm cool.
But you're not going to see any of those games that you're like, wow, this looks a lot like my favorite game, and it's because it was AI generated and they just missed copyright on everything. It's the most generic game
softcore porn ad
Oh my
where it's
God.
like a zoom in from some female character's butt and it's like jiggling when she like snipes some characters, and then it's like it's the stupidest thing ever. Like I wouldn't want you guys to have to see that. But it legitimately will take hours when we are monetized, I'm sure, to go through that list because I've seen it on the
But
creator
we care about
end.
you guys that much because I personally, it stops me from watching certain people's creations more than I do. I'm like, that was a good video, but then like, God,
Or it's like the
I have to-
humanitarian ads where it's like making you feel like the biggest piece of dog shit for not contributing to some fund that probably doesn't actually benefit animals in the long run at all. Like, Because those are a thing too, where it's like, look at this sad, dying, disabled puppy, and you're a piece of shit because you didn't donate to help it, even though only 20 cents out of your entire dollar is contributed to this dog in the first place. 20
cents. It's like
Probably.
5 cents of a dollar.
Yeah, so I would definitely not do that at all.
Yeah.
So it would have to be, it would have to be cool games. It would have to be companies that I know. If, like I said, Bandai Namco, or you said Square Enix, or Nintendo, or even Xbox. I mean, I don't even like all of the general Xbox stuff, but that's something that people within my community might want to see the new Xbox trailer for Indiana Jones or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's something that makes sense. Like, that was a random example, but, like, that makes sense in context to the...
I like Nintendo's brand, so obviously they're gonna be good. Like, I like Lego. I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? There's certain brands that I think are wholesome that I would be okay with, but then there's other brands I'm like, all right, it's one of those situations where we're going to be making those decisions to try to be giving you guys the best viewing experience. Because honestly, who wants to be watching a longer form video or stream and have to constantly have their finger on the skip button because you just cannot stand that grating ad coming up again?
I would much rather get, if it means we get less ads in general because there are less available, then I don't care.
I don't care.
Literally, it's more important to make it watchable as a consumer.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Okay, I always use him as an example because he's just kind of a general wholesome creator. Moist Critical. When I watch Critical's content, I never see degenerate or stupid ads in front of them. It is almost always curated to something that is relevant to me as a consumer. That's always what I want. I want it to remind me about this new game that I didn't even know was coming out, or something I heard about months ago, or something like that. Like, I want them to remind me about the relevant shit. Don't get me wrong, that's what ads are for. They're for consumers who want them. But when it's a useless service or a plain scam, it's like, I'm not going to advertise that on my channel. Like, I'm not going to name any names, but recently, once we hit like 2,500 subscribers, we got an email from some very illegitimate software company for PC that when I looked at its Trustpilot scores, were like 1.4.
Get that whole line. Hurry, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah! Woo!
But it's just like, I'm not... The biggest takeaway from us as content creators is me and Dad are not going to shill you some product that makes no sense for you. Or no sense for us.
Right.
Like, it will have to be something that we would be willing to consume or already consume regularly, whether that be content or a product.
Or we could understand where it fits in the market. Even if that's something we wouldn't consume, we would consider consuming it, or if we knew it makes sense for somebody else, then sure.
But we wouldn't show you a bunch of pharmaceutical ads and contribute to some random thing that makes no sense to what we do. Like, it's not going to be some, like, think about on TV, right? They always would dedicate, like, on kids shows, they would show, like, kid
toys.
Like, they would make, or if you're...
Restaurants.
Right. If you're on, like, I don't know, if you're watching some soap opera or something, or you're an older person, I'm sure they're showing, like, some more mature stuff. Like, maybe they're showing you some sort of Medicare or something to that extent that would make sense, like some sort of early retirement plan thing or something. But, like, like, the people who are watching our content don't need those things, or it doesn't even make sense to market those things to those people.
Right.
I'm definitely not anti-marketing, because marketing in general makes sense. I want to know why I want to enjoy something sometimes, or why I need something. But I also don't want to be guilt-tripped into not having something, make me feel stupid for not having something, or get ripped off because it's false advertising. Because all of those things happen. I guess it's just food for thought for those of you who consider content creation yourselves.
It's something it's a bridge you'll have to cross if you are dedicated enough and get enough traction.
Right.
If you're blessed to get enough traction.
Yeah, because it is, at the end of the day, it's all
up to you guys. We just hit 2,500 subs today, so that's because of you guys.
And it's crazy that happened, because I even took days off. I took a week and went and visited my mom and like out of state, and like so I wasn't even here, and you were able to even, you know, have big gains on stream and stuff while I was gone. So like, the fact that we have such a dedicated community who's willing to watch our stuff like that, it's very flattering.
We're also humble enough to consider like 30 and 60 and 90 views big gains because we appreciate every single person. There's somebody that can look at that failure. This is a failure.
But we also have a video that's like that gains, you know, not like our viral video per se. When the Cuphead DLC came out, we beat the final boss. We beat the whole game, but the thing that gained the most traction was the final boss. And with that, we get 1,000, 2,000 views every month off of the video that we posted over 2 years ago now, a year ago.
Yeah, 2 years.
But at this point, like, to me, that means that the algorithm can feed our content, and it will feed our content when we get to the point where we get consistent uploads, we have all of the search terms completely in order every time, and it's just like without thought, and like maybe increased thumbnail quality, and like we've talked about getting an editor, or just because like I know that it can get exhausting curating the content and putting every single aspect of the channel together ourselves. So to have someone to take at least the editing part off of it, off of our hands, makes it so we can at least kind of focus more on what's important for us right now. Like, don't get me wrong, I think increasing or bettering my editing skills is very important. But right now, it's getting the traction and getting the foothold to the point where we can get it going for real. We've been doing this as a job for so long. We want it to get to the point where more people see us. You know, we really want to put our names out there, because I know individually we are both capable of things that are awe-inspiring in the gaming field. I know there are things that you've done that make me think like, damn, my dad is a high-skilled fucking gamer. Like I know the term gamer is pretty lame and kind of like overused at this point, and like how people feel about that or whatever. But like truly, like the feats you're capable of as a speedrunner, as just someone who plays games, like you are able to pick up and play pretty much any given experience, even if you can't pick it up and play it to like the highest degree. You will always know the basic mechanics just by messing around with the controller. And I can do the same thing, and that's something I can appreciate about your skill. Like, there are some people who are looking down physically at the controller they're holding when they're playing the game to just get the feel. Like, you don't do that.
Right.
I don't look at A, B, X, and Y anymore. That was like something I did when I learned to play games when I was like starting off. So to be able to do the things I'm able to do and do them with you and have a catalog of every journey we've gone on as far as video games are concerned, like I love to see our progress. You look at Zombies, for example, and you didn't know much about it, and you really had only played one map, and we got to around 20 something, and then it got to the point where you were able to hit around 50 with 3 people, including the ramp, on what I consider to be the hardest Zombies game, at least of the Black Ops games. So like, you've made considerable gains in varied skill. I think where you're not going to want to hear this, but where you lack your skill is FPS.
Yeah.
Even though you were there with Quake and Doom and a lot of the early stuff when it came out, like it's taken you a while to adapt to the modern FPS and the type of rigorous gameplay that really entails. Like, it is demanding as shit. Okay, recently I've been getting back into Rainbow Six Siege, and I played that game in like 2019, and it was nowhere near as competitive as it is now. Like, the settings you have to maintain and learn, the sensitivities you have to be able to have.
You want to go into individual, try to do some...
Yeah, you go and you can do Caravan or whatever you want to. Like, but like modern FPSs, like, you have to have highest sensitivity that you can handle, and you have to be able to do the crazy flick shots. Like, it was not, like, it is
I can
evolved
enjoy
so quickly.
all the new FPSs that are single player by myself, and I feel like I can do a great job. My problem is when it comes to having to be into competitive FPSs, I can get through it.
You can but it's never enjoyable.
I'm not always, because I how do I put this without sounding like a cocky asshole? I don't have the fucking time. I don't then that means I don't get that means I don't get to dedicate my speedruns. I don't get to do my classic arcade high scores. I don't get to do my casual gaming. I don't get to do my RPGs. I just get to play FPSs. And whatever the one is. Whatever the one that I'm trying to be really good at. Yeah. That's all I'll get to do.
You're going to get all the camos on the newest Call of Duty. You're going to get, like, you know what I mean? That's right, what
that's just not me. Like, maybe it would have been at a specific point if I was with a crew that was all about that, and it was all about keeping up with the Joneses, you know, keeping up with my bros. Oh, did you get this? Yes. Do you got this? Yes. Are you on par to get this? Yes. Did you prestige? Yes. I remember hearing all that stuff. But for me personally, I was like, did you beat this RPG? Did you get the rare drop from this guy? That was me. You know what I mean? That was my thing. So, like, I think it translates to whatever it is for you. I feel like
single player and co-ops, story-based experience, story-based FPSs are better experiences overall than the competitive multiplayer ones I've played. Don't get me wrong, I think, personally, Rainbow Six Siege, mechanic-wise, is one of the coolest fucking FPS games that I've ever played. It's the game that I wish came out when I was super heavy into first-person shooters. You know, like, I just admire a lot of what goes into making that game awesome. Like, all the different operators, all their different abilities, the destructible environments, all that stuff. But it's like, I play ranked, and I feel like a goon. Like, I literally, like, damn, I'm the low-level piece of shit that everyone takes out first. I'm first dead. Or if I am playing, I'm the best on the shitty team. I tell Dad all the time,
like,
when I'm playing
I topped the team. That means that's got to mean that everybody sucked.
Literally.
That's literally what you say.
I say that all the time. It's like, if I'm playing
I'm like, oh man, you're top the team. Like, no, that's not a good thing.
No, it's like, I'm playing shitty people, and I am with shitty people. That's the only time when I ever, like, top the team on Rainbow. Or, like, I'm at that perfect flow state where you have that right amount of caffeine in you, and you, like, just, like, you're full so you don't worry about eating or anything, and it's like, you're at that zen, then I'm good. Because I can hit the headshots. But it's like, when I'm trying to rely on hitting body shots, hell the fuck no. No, I cannot. I'm getting a little bit looser, because we're getting towards the end of our time tonight. Just because we figured we'd dedicate about an hour to Mario Bros. Just because arcade games they're best practiced offline, in my opinion. Just like, say we were like, we wouldn't play Donkey Kong unless Dad had a goal, like a speed run or like a high score or something.
If I'm going for a high score.
You wouldn't just mindlessly play for, 5 hours, 4 hours.
Like, yeah, I don't know if you guys would want to see that.
You also have to think about what people want to see. Like, I would watch an hour stream of pretty much anything, because I can dedicate about an hour of my life and lose that and not really care about it. Whereas, like, 4 hours, 5 hours, I must be watching a pretty damn interesting video essay or something to dedicate 4 or 5 hours. Because I have. Some of my favorite YouTube videos I've ever watched, I've sat down and watched a 4 or 5 hour-long expose about my favorite show, movie, game, speedrun, etc. Like, that's why I love Easy Speezy. Little shout out. I love watching his documenting of, like, the community. He shows the community aspect of speedrunning. Not just the guy who's on top. He shows the whole, like, who invented this tech. Who is the person who helped revolutionize this part of the speedrun? I love knowing, like, if it weren't...
Because it's a community effort to get to the goal. I mean, everybody,
you could be a nobody and be able to contribute to
and say that you're part of the story.
Yeah. You could, even if you're not you don't end up being the guy who has the best time at the end of the day, you were the guy who helped invent that tech or helped revolutionize
whoever did Fast 4-2, whoever invented Fast 4-2 for freaking Mario Brothers, they are the only reason why the maximum time got reached. Like,
that's why there's so much. I think that's why me and you have so much disdain for Twin Galaxies and Billy Mitchell, in the fact that they were essentially stealing the community aspect of gaming in like the high score era and making it so they were the only
They're
ones
keeping
that
them
knew
the
that.
little boys club on top by showing tech that everybody else was turning in.
Yeah.
Robert Murzek was the one that was like he was not doing it himself, but he was bullied into letting other people see tape, and
Yeah.
there's just a lot of shit. You know, I'm not saying Jace Hall's not doing a good job trying to turn around the integrity of the company.
It's just kind of have to change the damn name, right?
I don't
Change
know.
the name.
Does it really have legacy then? Would WWE still have all of its like legacy for all of everything else if they changed it to something else?
They changed their name from
But
WWF, and
but it's still considered the legacy of all the WWF accomplishments.
right.
So like I guess are you okay with them changing the name but still having the legacy of all their accomplishments? I think that's what we're trying to get rid of then, right? Is the accomplishments.
I don't know.
So I don't know.
I just feel like they've just marred the name. When I think Twin Galaxies, I think Billy Mitchell, and I think Todd Rogers and the shitty things that those guys did.
Yeah.
Like that's like the fact that I'm so passionate about video games, and especially like I was talking about with speedrunning. Todd Rogers was the first infamous speedrunning cheater, essentially. Dragster is a speedrunning game.
Yeah.
You are essentially speedrunning an instance of a drag race,
Right.
and you're trying to get the maximum time. And he essentially just lied about being able to do something. So like, if I was a kid at home and I was looking up to this guy, like I wasn't.
He was very. He would if I was the kid at the time, I would have known more about him. He's very much like the Tony Hawk of his time, like for what he was doing. Like he promoted controllers. They had controllers that he was branded for him, and like he was the first sponsored gamer. He was living the dream for everybody. Like
Yeah.
you know, it just sucks. You know, it sucks all that he did that shit. He lied about a lot of. I mean, I am a very passionate Activision fan, and that guy gatekept a bunch of Activision games records illegitimately that would have made you wouldn't even have attempted them when you saw what he said that he got, and then he got them verified. So then there's no way he's lying,
Yeah,
right?
it's like
Oh, you got millions of points on Baby Pac-Man for Atari 2600. Nobody's gonna try to touch that. Oh, you can't get millions of points in that game. Like,
yeah, literally just lying,
Like-
things that are completely impossible.
that's
It took people getting to the point where they can. That is why
But
tool-assisted speedruns need to exist.
And the reason why he was able to get away with that, though, is because he was a good gamer. Like, he was a good gamer.
But you
You know what I mean? So, but those guys eventually got to the point where they did not want to lose that spot. So how do you stay competitive?
But that is why TAS and tool-assisted high scores and stuff like that is so important.
Discrepancy is the only problem for TAS for me. Just be discrepancy.
Right.
Just
That's
have full
what-
discrepancy.
It has
I'm
to say
fine.
TAS in front of it.
I'm totally fine with it. Just because I want to see what the game can do. I'd love for you to run rack boards and see how far the game can go.
But
And we can see where kill screens are.
Right.
That stuff makes sense
See
to
what's
me.
possible, and it's
Right.
like that's. But then you also learn when things are only possible by a computer that if someone does this, you know there's foul play.
But when you're stitching together your gameplay, and I can see that the audio doesn't fucking sync up with it.
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff,
all it takes
like,
is doing a little bit of.
You can make your gameplay
video-
seamless, but that audio track will never lie.
Or you look at the video forensics. You look at the actual stream and how the waves go, and there will be a break. It won't, unless there are people who try seamlessly editing that and fabricating it, but it's to the most like to the very attentive eye you can tell when that shit's been spliced and messed with. And I think that's how they caught Billy in one of the instances, wasn't it?
That's the
Where-
audio thing.
Yeah, spliced tape.
There was no audio on like the tape. Like there wasn't an audio track because they eliminated the whole thing because they couldn't sync it up.
That should never have been able to be
Nope.
put on and be an official record. and
Not
be
to
on
mention the
Twin
fact that when they
Galaxies.
finally found the broker score footage, they actually saw that he had like a red knob on the joystick and it was longer than it should have been, which, you know.
Yep, and he said he only ever played on original hardware, which we know whether.
And if you didn't know why that's important, they've been able to dictate that barrel manipulation is able to be occurred when more than
Yep.
one direction can be depressed on the ladder, so.
So if you use a fight stick, essentially something that's like a gated.
I could do it on the Switch Pro Controller when I'm playing this archives version of Donkey Kong because I have two analog sticks here. I can do two depresses from each analog stick at the same time and it will do it. And I never thought to do that. And there's no way to detect it. So, you know, if there's some people that have some really great scores on that, you can question the legitimacy of them because it's not, you know, it's possible to do stuff like that.
Yeah, I think ultimately it's just about integrity. Don't lie about what you're doing. I think Billy Mitchell was a capable gamer.
The first stuff with TAS, though, that was my problem. Was like they were lying. Like they didn't admit it was TAS until like it came out.
Doom speedruns online there was a big problem because people were just posting them and there was no context and you didn't know that it was TAS. But what I was saying is like Billy Mitchell was a good gamer. I think some of his accomplishments are legitimate, but it gets to that point where you feel like you have to one up yourself. So you have to cheat to one up yourself, and then you're manipulating the rules, and then you're like, oh well, I'm still this great gamer, but I'm just doing this because I have to keep up with the times.
Well, he just had to he had to keep his competitive edge, and that was his steroid.
But how many people were better than him at the end of the day, and they weren't getting recognition for tech they created?
My problem with with Billy and Wyatt, I don't even know. I guess we're just because we're talking about because of classic arcade games, but my main problem with Billy is what he put Steve Wiebe through.
Yeah.
To make that man go insane, and then when he finally, and I don't know if it's for the movie or not, but when he finally does break the score at that convention, and then Walter Davis waltzes out with that tape, and he just pops the tape in. Steve's playing, so he can't even watch the tape.
How is
he can't
that
even watch any of Billy's tape? And then Billy's tape's got freaking eraser head marks on it, and like the score glitches out. But then Walter Day doesn't think he could take it, and then all of a sudden he makes a phone call and he says, "Yeah, we're gonna take it." And then he just goes in the back and then he puts it in the Twin Galaxies database. It's just like,
how is that like?
And then he never competes head to head against him, even though they had competed before against each other head to head. And Billy claims that he needed to be trained up. You need to be trained up on the game that you're like the best in the world.
Yeah,
at.
there's no. I know. I can. You guys saw me the other day when it went on Mario Day. I hadn't played Mario 64 for who knows how long, but I dedicated hours of my life learning the BLJ, and I hit it first try.
Because you wanted to come in there ready. You wanted to come in ready. But
it's muscle memory. DuckTales. I right now, in the middle of this stream, we could switch to DuckTales, and I could put up a decent time right now. It may not be my best.
No.
But it'll still be good.
It'll still be top 20% in the world.
Literally.
Guaranteed.
So, given the fact that that type of person supposedly has put more time than me into his given practice or whatever, then he should be at that level where it's just you can put, not even playing the game, you can put your brain into the loop of the game and play part of the game in your head, in the back of your eyelids, because you've played the game so many times. Like, there are certain things that it is just second nature to you to do. So I think some of his claims are just BS. It was stuff he was never capable of doing.
I think he just knew that he didn't want to look like a fool.
Yep.
He knew this guy was good. He learned tech from Steve's submissions. He probably only broke the score that he broke because he got to watch Steve Wiebe's tape of when he submitted his score. And Steve was doing things on the ladders board that people hadn't done. He was manipulating barrels in a way and was leeching points in a way that people hadn't done. He had created a new point pressing technique, I believe, that Robbie Lakeman eventually did more with. One of the bigger champions that, is who they're chasing now. But if it wasn't for what Steve did, using his, we're going to call it brilliant mind, because we all have them. You can call it whatever you want. You can say you're on the spectrum, whatever brilliant quirk makes you, he was able to see it in a way where he was able to chalk out different.
It's the pattern recognition,
right?
And I think that's why people always associate it with people being neurodivergent, because those people tend to have increased pattern recognition capabilities.
But his brother says something about him hitting his head off the back of the car seat for hours at a time when they went on long car rides and stuff. And then you watch him play drums later in the movie, and you can just see where he is zoning out. But he's found this amazing timing in the drum that he's playing, and you're like, man, you can't. If you listen, you can hear where he's at. But then people could listen to that and think that that's just crazy noise. But he's so far in it, and it's beautiful what it is. It's like, you know what I mean, like beautiful chaos. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I like about music in general. Some of my favorite artists are things that don't necessarily make sense or have the most cohesiveness, but because they're I'll say a random band, Butthole Surfers or Dead Kennedys. Like, those bands are scratchy. They are, well, at least Butthole Surfers are whacked out on drugs. I mean, but disruptive, chaotic. The songs don't make sense. But sometimes that's just some of the best shit. It's stuff that's just audio garbage. But the garbage is just such a perfect storm of chaos that when you're listening to it, if you're in the right mindset, it's great. But then other times you're like, I don't want to listen to that. That's why some people hate the Beatles. I think the Beatles are such an accessible band.
Well, you know, it's because every single name song is after someone that they murdered, so that's why they hate the Beatles. Like all those girl names, they killed the girl first, and then they made the song.
God, people have the most whacked out conspiracy theories. I've heard that. I have heard that. I've heard that same
and
theory.
People stop talking about it because they're like,
no, that's just such an outrageous claim. Like,
the walrus was Paul.
I don't know. I think something that's wild is, did you know that Charles Manson claimed that the Beach Boys stole his music?
I've never heard that.
Yeah, he said that that there are things that he claims the Beach Boys they straight plagiarized from him. I remember learning about that in psychology class because they were in the same area. Like, because I don't know much about Manson because I'm not like a serial killer buff or someone who likes learning true crime because I want to escape from the crazy world that is real life, and I like to consume media that's outlandish, fantasy, and that otherwise. But like, he literally was like claiming that he claimed like that there were guitar riffs they stole, and it's like that just the fact that like people really believe that, or like the fact that Helter
Hulk Hogan said that he tried out for Metallica too, though. So like, I mean, people are just dumb.
Yeah, I don't know. The connections, like, I love pattern recognition, but if the connection between two things you're trying to make just makes no sense, then I'm not gonna even placate that idea. Like,
but finishing back up on that like nonsense, because I think we went on 15 tangents on this last thing about the Steve Levy and the Billy Mitchell thing. It's just unfortunate if you watch King of Kong to know now that he was a lying, cheating bastard.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't even play him. And he just kept trying to just validate his score over and over again to prove that he could. And Weeby was putting up amazing scores live under all the stress and all. I mean, freaking Brian Koo standing over his shoulder like a bastard, like just the whole thing, man. And it's just like to come to find out that. And I didn't look up to Billy Mitchell, but Donkey Kong is a game that I love. And when he makes that, when he talks about Donkey Kong is a brutal game. Most people don't last between like the first 30 seconds, and it's true, man. It's true. So if you can get 100K on Donkey Kong, you are a fierce freaking gamer. And this guy took a game like that, gate kept the score, gate kept the community, lied about it, and emotionally just beat this guy down.
And you watch it, and if you're an empathetic person like us,
God.
Like I remember being just devastated because I hated that movie. I never, after we watched that together, I never watched it again because I guess because of my empathy, part of me just knew.
Right.
There was some gut feeling that knew that this guy should not have been the person who gets recognized as the winner at the end of all of this because of the things, like, there's some sort of foul play going on in the background that we don't know about. I just want to take this opportunity, very random, very late in the stream. I just want to thank Musicus Dominum. The other night, when I was out of town, he donated 2 subscriptions of the highest tier to our community members. The second tier?
Second tier, yep.
Oh, the second tier? But still, that's a very generous donation, and I just want him to know that we appreciate when he stops in the stream and whenever he's here, and the fact that he's also taking the time to help put together a new intro for us, and even the small things like the "We'll be right back" screen that he personalized for us. Like, the fact that we have people in our community that really want to show us what they're capable of, and we want to show other people what they're capable of. Everyone has a talent, whether that be editing, maybe you're good at making clothes, maybe you're good at sewing, maybe you're good at drawing. Maybe, like, there's something that you are good at, and I want people to know that they are capable of things. Like, when you watch us, we are in a testament to that. I remember sitting after TV kind of petered off in my life, I went to YouTube and watched so much content. I watched Minecraft stuff. And then it evolved into so many like Halo, Call of Duty, zombies. You know, it bounced Destiny. It bounced it all over the place. And then I developed my tastes, and then I came back and started appreciating older video games. And now I find myself as pretty much an advocate for the idea of video games in general sometimes when it comes to talking to older individuals, which just because they come from the era people don't even know the context. Boomers don't have any confidence in video games because there was a legitimate crash of an industry that happened within their lifetimes that they were observably able to watch, and because of that there was no confidence in video games as a product until Nintendo came back and made video games a palatable concept again. Like, they pretty much repackaged and rebranded video games as this new thing.
They had to make the damn thing look like a VCR to convince parents that it was something different.
Yeah, and then lo and behold, video games now are here to stay, and we're still fighting. As people who love video games, we are still fighting for video games. Like, you look at how the industry is now with all the microtransactions, and it will come down. I hope it's not a whole market crash like Atari caused, but these greedy bastards will cause that. They can and will.
Between overinflation of garbage games and cell phones and DLC microtransactions and subscription services, it's I don't want to say it's closer than we think, but
it's happening.
They need to calm.
Or there needs to be new regulations. Maybe just the console manufacturers, like the big three or whatever, maybe they just need to all sit down and be like, look, we need to completely reformat how this whole structure works because it's not benefiting the consumer.
I'll tell you what you do. You go back to charging me the $80, $90 you charged me around the Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64 era, but everything's just fucking on there because you're gonna just withhold it and just stream it out through DLC anyways.
If you want $60 and then $20 or $30 more from me, then just charge it right at the start.
Yep, and then I get everything.
At least I know what I'm paying for.
I paid $80 for Donkey Kong Country, and guess what? I had kids around the block trying to get in my house to play that game. And it was all on there, and it was amazing.
Yeah. Whereas, like, I don't want to sound like an old man, but, like, these days, like, games are not complete. In my lifetime, I watched this happen. Even on the 360, games were still complete. At least you were only paying for like, the stupid shit, like cosmetic DLC. If cosmetic DLC is how you make extra money, I totally understand, but don't make your whole game a vehicle for cosmetic DLC. Like, legitimately, the only game at this point that I can kind of argue for having that model is Fortnite, but to an extent, Fortnite has helped cause this crash and helped cause this problem. Like, I understand that Fortnite being a free app, providing all the things it does, because it's become a very multifaceted experience at this point. I don't really play Fortnite, but, like, looking at it from, like, a kid's perspective, like, that game offers a Roblox type experience with its creative mode. It has the Lego stuff they're doing now. They absorbed all of Rock Band and now are doing the Rock Band type thing too. So, and then there's the racing thing on top of that. Like, there is so much to what that offers, so, like, I can appreciate that.
It's like an amusement park called Fortnite, and so you can just go there.
Given the fact that that's free, that game needs to be led by microtransactions. But we don't need every single game being a super large experience where you're paying all this money. It's also, like, hundreds of gigabytes, 150 gigabytes just to play the damn thing. And then, like, the store page just has a bunch of stupid microtransactions on it. Like, I guess it's just, like, to me, it's ruined a lot of what made gaming special. Like, having every game have a separate identity. Like, everything seems like a vehicle for monetization now.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. It's like,
unless it's indie games. That's the thing.
That's why they're the best still. Indie games are the best, or quality of life improvements of the golden age of gaming from PlayStation and Super Nintendo era.
Or indie games, or people who have passion. Passion projects are where it's at. I don't want a corporate piece of garbage. I don't want Redfall. I don't want even what was Starfield? That was boring as hell. I'm sorry, not every open world RPGs have almost overstayed their welcome.
Yeah.
Like they make sense.
I don't have the attention span for that.
Not anymore. Not with all the
I never really
experiences
did, man. Like, I mean, Zelda was like pushing it but it was okay because nothing made me feel like there was a right or wrong answer. Now I feel like there's a right or wrong answer as to how to spend my time. Like,
people are like, you're bitching about the wrong things. I made some video where I was complaining about Xbox Game Pass offering too many titles, and it's like you don't realize that bloating and having too much on a console, it can be a problem just as much as not having enough. Like,
look at that shit.
Hell yeah.
I just pushed this in the top 500.
Live on stream for our 5 viewers.
Went from 3,000 something to 456.
But yeah, I mean, if you guys hear us, we are very passionate about video games. To me, like they encapsulate periods of my life. Like thinking about what games I played at what age, like that is my life. Like not like thinking about what I can listen to the Minecraft soundtrack and cry. If you need me to cry on demand, I put Sweden on or one of the Minecraft alpha tracks, and I will cry for you on the spot. It's just like I can think of where I was the first time I played that. The Minecraft is my Zelda. Like I played the Zelda games, but like your Zelda 1 experience, that was Minecraft for me. Like, and like to know that that's still going on. There are kids who are growing up now who are growing up with the same thing I did. Like think about that. Like what was a game you grew up playing? Like that was relevant to your time period. Mario 3?
Yeah, obviously.
Were kids playing Mario 3 10 years later?
No, it was a lot of kids already considered that stuff way too old. But like
Minecraft is like 14 years old.
Like the thing about Mario was like.
Wait, let me think.
I feel like you only did it if your parents did it, really, type thing.
Came out in 2014, so 10 years old. This year is 10 years old. I don't know why I thought it was 14. I was thinking about the year it came out. It came out 2013-14, so it's 10 or 11 years old now. And people still play it actively like when it was at its peak relevancy. Like it never lost relevancy, really. It's weird. There have been periods of time where there's lack of updates or the content was something that I didn't like. But like even through the modding scene, it never really lost relevance.
A game like The Sims was a game that was like super popular all the time. Like you always heard about it. And then like eventually, because so many different games like that existed, it really wasn't a big deal to be into The Sims anymore or whatever.
Right, I agree. Or even like we were talking about with the Wii and like the motion type stuff. Like now that kind of, looking back on the Wii, I think we were talking about this, there is so much bloatware, there is so much garbage on the Wii as a platform, like so many unplayable titles or things that are just tie-ins, something that has no soul to it, like something that's just so random and just like same with I think unfortunately the first console to start doing that was the GameCube, and then subsequently portably the Game Boy Advance. Or was the Game Boy Advance first?
Damn it.
Which was first? GBA or GameCube?
I think the Game Boy Advance came out first.
Yeah, I think you're right. And then, but they were around the same period because I know that they had the interlinking system plugging I'm assuming if they use the same cable as the link cable,
yeah, I mean
then they would be using that same technology adapted for. Yeah, so Game Boy Advance definitely came out.
They were like working hand in hand with each other.
It was like there was like a console with like a sister handheld essentially. But I feel like that was the generation where there started to be too many games almost. Like there were so many games on there that you're more likely to buy a shitty game than a good game. That's why we talk about first and third party publishing now. Like the game that came out made by the company tends to be better than the game made by a random publisher.
Well, you know how you're going to develop for your console. It's like, I mean, I hate to give this example because he's a bastard, but like it's kind of like how Vince McMahon would sell his wrestlers. He was on commentary back in the day, and nobody knew he owned the company, but he knew how he wanted those wrestlers to be sold because he was creating them as products, so he would sell them on the mic how he would want you to perceive them. Oh, he's vicious, because he wanted you to think he was vicious because that's how he wrote them. So, like, if I'm a coder and I'm making for proprietarily for my console, I'm going to know its strengths. I mean, that's why they had Gunpei Yokoi work on the Mario game for the Game Boy, because he was the one that developed the Game Boy. So they're like, well, I know that you're not the guy that does the Mario games, but you know how this machine will be able to do a Mario game.
Right.
So you should do the Mario game on it first.
Absolutely. I think it's funny. I was watching it was some talk about one of the main Nintendo guys. I'm not sure who it is, so I'm not gonna say a random name. But like it was talking about how he was working on the Zelda series, and I think it was for what game was it? Maybe it was Ocarina, I think. And he was like talking about how he's never gonna work on another Zelda game after this, and then he almost exclusively worked on Zelda games after that because he realized that that's really where he fit creatively. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's, to me, you know, we've talked about it before, but it's just like finding where you feel like you're the most useful, and, I mean, it's got to be hard, you know, especially if it's not where you find your love. Like, you'll find developers that fall out of love with programming because they get forced into making the same games. You know, they're done. We're done. No, we're not done, bud. We're not done till they stop buying them. Well, they're never going to stop buying them.
And like, as much as everyone says it was upset about Charles retiring, I think Miyamoto made him do it.
Yeah.
I think Miyamoto made him do it so he wouldn't do it until he couldn't.
Well, plus also, you know, on top of that, you have to eventually have to be the person that can train the next generation.
Yeah, and that's what he's doing. He is literally being there to be like, Mario would do this.
And hell yeah, you can go into this.
He's the ambassador for the character.
Right. It's the best thing about it is he gets to still be. Nobody's gonna not like accept him as the ambassador for the rest of his life as long as he wants to travel, sign autographs, and you know, let's go. People are gonna want to see it. I still want to see him in person. I still want to give him his flowers.
As far as everyone knows, like it's almost like Matt Pat retiring and like handing off his channel to the newer generation, people who looked up and watched him. The person who voices Mario was a Mario fan and has been a Mario fan for a majority of their life.
There's no way they did not take that role knowing the insurmountable pressure that they were going to face and be ready to face it.
Absolutely.
Period. Like, who's going to do that? You're not taking it as a scab. You're taking it as like, okay,
it's a challenge. You might. The thing is, if you don't do a good job, they will replace you.
Oh, for sure. He's not guaranteed to be giving getting Martinez longevity. We're not saying that. But right now, he did an alright job.
Yeah,
that's alright. I don't necessarily like the range on his Luigi versus his Mario because
is it the same guy?
Yeah, I think so.
There's a chance they just need to get a Luigi then he's dedicated more. You can't
assume that he's gonna be able to do Luigi, and Mario just because Martinet could.
Not to make this example because I actually don't consume this show anymore, but Rick and Morty, since the creator turned out to be a real big creep and weirdo, and he got rejected from that community, which I used to watch it, but I fell out of that culture so long ago, and like once I was not surprised when I heard that stuff, but at that point, they're assuming that the person who can do the primary character can also do the secondary character, which you can't always expect someone to do that. No. Just because person A can do...
Just because when John Kay left Ren and Stimpy and Billy West was able to start doing
there will be
it
those
doesn't
people.
mean that everybody can do it.
There can be those people who can... They can
Not everybody's Billy West.
They can mock someone else's voice and still... Or their interpretation of... Like, their interpretation of a voice will pass enough to the point where the consumer can still enjoy it.
Alright, I'm going to go ahead and give... We did decent on Caravan Mode. I'm going to give one run on, like, the official high score one, and then we'll call it if you're okay with that.
I mean, we could just do a secret game afterwards.
Because we still got some people that are hanging out.
Yeah, I appreciate I definitely don't want to leave these people hanging. So we'll do do one high score mode, and then we'll do a secret game.
Okay.
It'll be of the arcade variety, so not too much of a crazy change. Let's see
What, Donkey Kong 3, right? No.
God. Okay, so Dad's calling back to a really early moment in the stream where I'm referencing one of my least favorite NES games, Donkey Kong 3, where for some reason you're playing as this unknown character, I don't know his name,
Stanley.
with some weird bug spray where you're shooting it up Donkey Kong's ass. That's what you're doing. I mean, I literally hit you're shooting it right up his ass crack, and he's climbing up these vines, and it's just it's the dumbest thing. If you like Donkey Kong, you're not gonna like Donkey Kong 3.
If you love Donkey Kong, you'll hate Donkey Kong 3.
I think it's one of the least inventive and stupidest arcade games I've ever played.
Okay, I do not think that it's a bad arcade game. I think it's a bad Donkey Kong game.
Yeah, okay.
They tried
I'll
to
agree.
make a platform vertical shooter. I appreciate what they're trying to do.
Conceptually, that
if you
is
think
very...
about what they're doing, that's great. But what they skinned it as, not so great.
Yeah, lame as hell.
I think that's the problem there. If they would have, and they probably did not have that as a Donkey Kong game. I don't even think that was probably initially invented as a Donkey Kong game. They're probably like, what are we gonna do with this? Like, well, you know how we made Radar Scope into Donkey Kong? Why don't we just make this shitty game into Donkey Kong 3?
All they did was replace whatever character was getting shot at with Donkey Kong.
Or maybe, yeah, it could have been a nondescript. And they were doing gigantic apes because you can see Sky Skipper and you can see that they had already done gigantic apes anyways. Like, outside of the Donkey Kong model, they had already tried to go a little bit further with that. And if you don't know what Sky Skipper is, it's a long-lost arcade game that they only had a couple copies of that they did bring into the arcade archives, so you can actually see the full ROM. You can see where it's not super polished either.
What I love about arcade archives is they're bringing lesser-known titles to light and not charging an ass load for them, because they may be games that cost so much to own physically. Like, they may be games that are just not even worth your time to collect, but you're able to buy them for $5 or $6. And
hey, Arcade Archives, can you buy the Popeye license? Please, can I have Popeye on this?
I'm sure
please?
It's not that expensive, or it's in what if it's in public domain? Then they could literally probably just bring... Oh, wait, so something that I was wondering, right?
Jailbreak, too. You can put Jailbreak on there.
Okay, something that I was thinking about, right? So if something has left public domain, or has entered public domain, rather, and it used to be a copyrighted IP, can something that was created while it was a copyrighted IP be brought back because the license expired? Or would, because it was created during that license agreement, that it's no longer able to be shown? Like, that's my wonder, because there are games that they bring back. What was the game you were talking about on Switch that was a was it a PSP game or PS Vita game? We have it in the collection if you want to just look up there.
Pretty?
Yeah, Pretty 1 and 2. Those games they were pretty much unplayable unless you played it on the original console.
Yeah, you had to have a PSP.
But you also think about the fact that you can't buy that from the digital store anymore, and
you could have played them on Vita, but you would have to be able to download your stuff, so you can't do that anymore.
So because of shut down stores, it was unplayable unless you found it out in the wild.
So if you have a UMD, if you have the original PlayStation portable UMDs, you can play it. This is stupid. I don't know why. I don't know.
It's gatekeeping of video game history, and that's why I will always be an advocate for emulation like I am, because it is a way for people to experience things that they've never experienced. Like, I totally get it if it's a game that they can make money off of and re-release, but even then, you're making typically the same audience pay money again for something that you already released. So, like, I think
people don't talk about games. How are we going to gauge relevancy and whether or not they're worthy of remakes? Stop remaking shit. Like, I like Live Alive. Like, I played like a ROM that was translated back in the day when I was younger for that, and I was like, man, I really wish that brought this over the West, and they did. But I still haven't got to it, you know what I mean? And it's great that it exists, but, like, that's so niche, and they may look at that as a failure, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, and that would suck, because then that could make them say, well, maybe they wouldn't have translated Trials of Mana. They did. That was another game, Seiken Densetsu 3, that they were like, it's never going to come over here.
The thing is, that's why, as much as Nintendo is against a lot of like copyright things, they aren't as shitty towards the modding community on older stuff because a lot of their fan translations are gauging relevancy on whether things even need to be brought back.
Right. I mean,
If
some
there's
things don't.
If an unofficial fan translation gets over like 100,000 downloads, then that's a sign as a developer that these people are clamoring for this IP again, or they really want it. So then, shit, you should re-release it, because a re-release makes sense when most people can't access it.
I'm doing my part. When you guys re-release this shit, I'm buying more than my share to make sure that the numbers are there, and it sucks because then I can only buy 6 copies of something and give them to people and talk about it, and then like you know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, then if it's not got the relevancy that I wish that it would have as a consumer, unfortunately, it's still gonna be a failed project if I buy 6 copies or 1.
Right.
So you guys just have to like have your finger more on the pulse of what people want. People don't always need a shinier version of a game that they can still play that you can just put on the virtual console as is and be okay, because that's taking time away from other projects.
It's also like if it is just a port, it's like when something's
quality
just,
of life improvements.
I hate when something's called a remake and it's just a port, because the terminology, they mean different things.
Yeah.
Remake, remaster, and a port are all 3 different things, but they are used interchangeably like they're the same thing when they're not.
Right.
Like a remake is when something's completely redone.
Right.
And a remaster can mean something similar. A remaster is more like a couple extra features with this same deal. But sometimes that remake and remaster, the lines can be blurred. And then other times, they're just saying it's a remaster or a remake, but it's just a port.
Right. I did not do good there at all.
Not bad though. Almost hit 50K.
That's
For a passive talking score. I think people need to have a talking and non-talking category.
Well,
of high
literally,
scores.
I had as long time as I wanted there, and I scored less than I did on the 5-minute run, so I
Yep.
feel poor about that, but it's whatever.
Yeah, I feel like it's about time for our hidden game. This is kind of you guys' incentive to stick around to the end of our streams, because a lot of the times, if we're feeling it and we really just want to keep playing, even for if it's 10 more minutes, sometimes we'll just throw on a little secret game and we'll play that. I mean, what's something that we can both play, even if it's for 1 round?
Oh, God.
This is your opportunity to look at our extensive library. If you ever see any of these games, like WarioWare, a party game, something like that, if you want to see us play it, just comment down below and let us know. And there are games we own that we haven't played yet, at least for the channel. Can we do dodgeball? You'd rather do heavy burger?
Yeah.
This is one of me and Dad's favorite little pickup games when we're feeling a little competitive, because we're very even as far as the playing field goes. It's a retro-inspired arcade type competitive or versus
You
shooter.
say we're even, and you're just being nice. You win 3 out of 4 times when we play this.
I would say I win 3 out of 6 and you win 3 out of 6.
Half the time?
Yeah, we each win.
Alright guys, this is Heavy Burger. It's great. Data East just incorporates a lot of their older arcade games into like a marathon where you have to kind of like play through them in like a twin-stick shooter situation. I don't know, since it's on the Vid-Bits account, it's on the older stuff.
It's fine. I'm just gonna keep it good. Hell yeah. Right. Now. Oh, unfair advantage.
No.
Anyway, once again,
Extra bots this time?
bots.
Not bad!
Bots?
I love all the sounds from the old games and all the different enemies that come in throughout the game. Some death timer after 10 minutes.
Yeah. I think 5 minutes is too early.
Alright, good bit. Am I red? I already forgot.
I think I'm orange, right?
That's not
Fight!
I'm blue. No,
That's blue? You think that the guy on the right is blue?
no, I'm wrong. likes him. But it's crazy that now that Carl's made this video and that voice characters are talking about him, like, it is just, he is so much more relevant to be hated, and I appreciate that. The general public did not know unless you were watching it, when it came out, or you were maybe someone who's following the scene. It was a very scene-specific thing, whereas most gamers, people who consume gaming content, know about this thing about Mario Mitchell. It's finally come out because it's weird. Sometimes you get gut feelings about people when you see them. When I first saw Mario Mitchell on King of Kong, he felt like an evil jackass. He's a maniacal jackass. Really, like, even if he did have any skill at any point, he by cheating. That's the best part, is the people who cheat, they cheat to stay relevant, even though they would have maintained relevancy if they didn't cheat. You're just or they would have at least been, they would have remained semi-relevant, more relevant than they ended up being by cheating. Like Dream lost all respect with everyone. People realized that he cheated. Now he's just like, he is like the online, like beating guys. Like people just beat the shit out of Dream. Like, anytime his name is mentioned, it's like dissing the shit out of him. Like Moist Critical 7, his face reveal went so far, not because people thought he was an unattractive person. He's just a shitty guy. Like, don't cheat on a Minecraft speed. You have no integrity to actually do it without cheating. Are you shittily splicing together? Like,
Stay relevant.
the only thing is, he was cheating on like a criteria run where it didn't even really mean anything. He didn't even post at high speed.
I feel bad for Critical. He came. It's like he tries to have some sort of fiddly game that nobody knows about.
Mr.
Like,
Krabs,
oh, yeah.
Mr. Krabs overdoses on God. He had to support for that.
You gotta steal that for him, boys. Sorry.
People realized how excessive it was. Whereas I wish someone would challenge us.
$20.
We literally, we have a $20 bounty that's active any day.
Steam, Nintendo, Xbox, or Sony code. Speed one of our scores in this.
Yeah. Bonus. A little bonus for you. Explain how you do it. And you actually, like...
Because that's a game kept secret.
Yeah, you explain how you do that, the certain sequence breaks that we don't know how to do. That's an extra bonus that is to be determined. I don't know. I want it to be known that because I think it's more accessible than it is.
You say that would be piss with you. Of a second. They don't show anything new on the run. They just in hundredth of a second better.
I don't know. I put it on.
Yeah, you can feel competitive after go.
Right. Then I go to beat any of them.
Got it. Lots of them are serious about it. I had the back.
No! Chumster.
My name's Todd Rogers, and I like exotic weird animals. Fucking weird. Yeah, I get passionate about that. I love the Activision games growing up on the 4600. It was like, they were unique, and I never knew why. Because the four main programmers at Atari were like told, oh yeah, even though you guys make us billions of dollars, you're not getting anything more than near scraps and you know the conditions in the games and they all up at the same time. Like, such a choice.
Think about where video games would be today, at least in the Western market, if the crash never happened. You know what I mean?
It never happened in Japan.
That's why they're at such a. There's still supposedly like games that can't come out in just the Japanese market. There's still such a renaissance for these. There are games that don't ever get translated. There are those things that are just like they're out there and
Got it. Got it. Got it.
I don't know, Sandland was. I don't know if I would give that.
Got it.
That's the great part about having.
Got it.
I like watching the Souls games.
Not bad.
Whereas I'll do that shit for hours.
And I can like feel like the rush of like watching you beat a boss. Like, just as much satisfaction after watching you like watching how it happens, like watching the strategy get formed, watching you get better over time. That on the same couch as you doing it, the same gratification. You probably actually build.
I don't know. There are times where it's like, so being the
Got it.
boss is just like, I don't know. I don't feel good. Like, it's like, aside from a little bit of caffeine here and there, but like, I feel like, to be honest, like the rush you get from beating something, it's the same as a speed run. The rush you get from beating a speed run, or making progress in some sort of RPG. Like how you feel at the end of grinding. Maybe not the whole time, but that satisfying feeling afterwards where you're finally done with the grinding. But I feel like we're at a pretty good point here where we've really showed what we have to offer. Oh, you got another secret game?
Well, I mean, I just wanted to do around 2 hours. I think it looks like we're pretty close, so...
Got 15 more minutes. I need to use the restroom real quick. If that's okay.
Johnny Turbo's Arcade presents
Johnny Turbo's Arcade.
Super Burger Time.
I was waiting for you to return so we can jam on this for a minute.
Super Burger Time?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was having some crackers. How do we start this? Thank you.
Hit the start button.
I keep doing it.
That's probably not the start button then.
I'm clicking the select button as well.
There you are.
This game's full of shit, man. How did they make a sequel to Burger Time? It's like, I have such a limited appeal for
What's wrong with you? You're just mad because the chief ate your crackers. Just tell him what happened. Just tell him that you put your crackers over there and the chief just ate them.
That's not why I'm mad, I just don't like this.
Alright guys, I guess that's the end of the stream.
I don't know, it's just like... I'm allowed to not like things.
I guess you like Burger Time though, so I thought you liked Super Burger Time.
Why do I need to, like, if I don't, do I like Dig Dug? Do I like Dig Dug 2? No. Like, what the fuck? Why do I need a sequel to Burger Time, I guess? Like,
God. Sorry, Data East, we're just trying to play another one of your great games, and stream dropped down to one person because you said fuck Super Burger Time.
no, I'm playing another, we're doing another round of Mario Bros. To watch that taste of Super Burger Time out of my mouth.
What the hell?
Let's do a little, this is the last hurrah. This is our last coin drop for the night.
I can't believe you shit all over Super Burger Time. I can't wait to make the short that says, remember that time that Brain crapped all over Super Burger Time and vetoed it? Because the chief ate his crackers.
It's not because the chief ate my crackers. That happens to be an unfortunate happenstance of the situation.
Oh, good job, the chief.
He happened to also eat my crackers.
I screwed it up.
Why?
Because you didn't start. No, you have to hit start. There we go.
Okay. How are those crackers, buddy?
You slyly put him over there. He just thought it was. He just looked at you like, "Yep, put that game controller in your hand." You did. The chief just like, "Yup, I love processed cheese."
He's an asshole. I wanted those.
Oh man.
I knew I just should have ate all of them, and then you looked over me and
because I'm like, we have 15 minutes left to stream. You can't wait 15 minutes to eat those damn crackers.
No, I couldn't.
You don't think I didn't want any delicious crackers? I'm sitting there sucking it up, and you're like looking at me like
You could have left the room for crackers. See, I think this is just your way of being happy that you got over on me because I wanted crackers.
I didn't get over on you. I wanted you to play Super Burger Time with me.
It was
You shit all
boring.
over it. It's like you showed like that
Dad,
note.
I like Burger Time, but I just barely like Burger Time. Like, I don't like it like I like Pac-Man or Donkey
Like you don't want to
Kong.
stand up arcade Burger Time machine.
No.
You don't want to have Peter Pepper hanging out in your
No,
house.
man, no.
I didn't even know his name was that, did you?
No. You did, because you're that much of a fucking nerd.
My God! I hope you guys aren't paying attention to my son's language, calling me a fucking nerd.
It's in jest.
Who's ingesting? Ingesting me.
In jest, as in, like, you know, it's all in good fun. There's those things that I can just nerd out about, but, like, come on, I didn't know that. Peter Pepper. I don't know, but it's like sometimes you can get too much of a good thing.
So Super Burger Time. It's not too much of a good thing because you said you barely like it. So too much of a thing I barely like. Put that on a fucking t-shirt. Super Burger Time. Too much of a thing I barely liked.
It's like, I don't know, it's fun for a couple boards. It's like
You didn't even let us get to a couple boards! You were in the middle of the first
original
board, you're like, this is fucking dumb! But if we're talking about regular Burger Time, yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard. You're just mad because it's hard.
It's not appealing visually.
You're making burgers. Like, what is this supposed to look like?
I don't want to work in food service. I hated it when I worked there for real.
Oh man, eat that. Well, that was neat. I'm glad that we got that.
Little combo move. Oh yeah. Ah, my ass!
Oh jeez.
Oh man.
A little bit more of a game I barely liked.
Well, I like Heavy Burger because it doesn't incorporate the burger time elements like at all. In gameplay, at least.
The first board.
Yeah, but it doesn't play like that.
The things fall like that.
But you're not walking over them to make them fall. I'm just a,
the final coin drop.
I'm a mappy kind of guy. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for tonight's stream. It's been super fun, very casual, ranty, as usual. I'm sure you've come to expect that from us. You know, sometimes it's hard for us to stay on task, but when we are on task, it's fun. I mean, I feel like we're really able to knock some games out when we have the motivation, and you guys definitely help us motivate ourselves to knock out our backlog. Like, there's so many games that we really want to play, and being able to give those games spotlight for you guys kind of gives us a newfound motivation to play them. Not that this is necessarily that kind of instance, but in general.
No, we definitely like to play games on their anniversary dates and stuff when it's applicable and it can fit in the schedule. And also, I'm very passionate about high scores in arcade games, and the arcade archives that Hamster has been able to curate has hundreds of titles. It definitely gives us the ability to play these, and I can show off a lot of my older gaming acumen with some of those, and I love to do competitive high score stuff. So you look forward to some streams where we're strictly just trying to get the Vid-Bits name up as high as possible on some of these boards. And if anything else, it shows you, like we were talking about with the DuckTales run, how accessible some of this stuff is. I don't care. Steal my tech. Watch our streams. Get better because you're watching us play games. And then beat us in our own games. It's a great way for community to iron sharpens iron each other and build up tech. So
we can also have different community bounties where, you know, we can help each other grow, but you contributing to that also feel like you get something, even if it's just a small financial deal, like getting some Steam card or Sony, Sony or Xbox card, like, but just to be able to have that as something to be like, damn, the Vid-Bits really got me right when I accepted their bounty. Like, to be able to have a cool reward, or if you guys can come up with, you want to come up with something else, like say we buy you the Vid-Bits membership. That could be another thing. You know, we'll get you the highest tier for 1 month of the Vid-Bits membership if that's how you want your, want that to go. But like,
and we could throw some Chiefs in chat.
Yeah, get access to some emotes, get some cool perks that way, or maybe when we're all set up like that, maybe you'll get some exclusive merch.
Now that we're also at the 2,500 subscriber mark, we're going to start doing early access and stuff for people that are members, so you're going to be able to see some of the videos that we put out ahead of time that's not streaming ahead of time before everybody else and stuff too, so look forward to stuff like that coming up very soon.
Or if there's like progress reports or updates on longer term content that we're working on, like say we work on some documentary or video expose or something, then be like, hey, we're working on this today and we put in 3 hours. Just sometimes it's just to know maybe like the inside baseball to see how long we've really been going at something.
Also, feel free to shoot a message on any of our videos if you ever want to see another of a series that we've stopped or we've not continued.
If there's a game we haven't picked back up in a while and you want to see that played, just make sure to comment, and I'm sure we'll address that between the two of us.
We have not forgotten about any of them. Not a single one, we promise.
Right. Sometimes it just needs a little bit of a reminder to kind of push that back to the forefront of what your focus is.
Yeah, guys, I've got to play Mario Wonder since you didn't show any interest in wanting to watch anymore.
Yeah, literally, too many people were playing Mario Wonder right when it released, and we had no window to play it.
I'm not trying to burn myself out on it. I want to still have all the excitement and feels when we do finish it, and we will.
Because it was fun. It was really good. So, ultimately, if there's any sort of thing that we've started or you want us to kind of revive our interest in it, like just send us a message on Instagram. We have the Vid-Bits, slight little plug there at the end. I haven't really been super active, but that's just due to the lack of interest in the Instagram. If we got some new followers, I'm sure I would post more updates there. That's another way that you can kind of get in contact with us. Send me a DM, and even if it's something like, not to get too deep, but like if it's some emotional stuff you're going through, I am an extremely empathetic person, and I'm always going to be that ear to listen. So if you even have some sort of problem going on in your life and you need someone to talk to, you can follow us on the Vid-Bits and shoot me a DM, and it may be only a couple responses when I'm able to fit them in, but I do want to be able to give you guys that time of day and be that creator who can help you through those those hard times in your life. But ultimately, thank you guys so much for tuning in to Mario Brothers tonight, and the varied extra games that we had featured as secret titles. In the future, we always are gonna, when we see applicable, gonna throw a couple little secrets, little hidden extra games in there for you if you are that dedicated to make it to the end of the stream. But as always, it's been Bray
and Brian from the Vid-Bits, and we love and appreciate every one of you guys and every day.
Yeah, we're just so thankful for the constant support. You guys mean the world to us.
Peace.
Peace.